What's up, guys? Alright, I want to share something that might have been more of a survival instinct than anything, but it has to do with um, pretty much it's kind of like the glass half full or the glass half empty, or finding new meaning. So when I was 13, I blew out my hip snowboarding, and then I had to get orthoscopic surgery to remove some of the cartilage, um, which kind of gave me like arthritis basically at a young age. But I still continued to play basketball all the way through college, um, and then when I was 24, I tore my ACL and had the ACL surgery. But the problem is that they just honestly a series of misfortunate, almost misuse and everything, led to me basically the ACL didn't work, and I had to and then I ended up tearing more cartilage in between my knees. And I had probably like 7 open knee surgeries that none of them worked. So I eventually just got a knee replacement. And while I was at it, I might as well have gotten a hip replacement. So I got a knee replacement and a hip replacement, and I still am in chronic pain with the knee. But what happened through this whole process was that I had basically lost my identity. I was definitely this person who went to the gym 6 days a week, played sports, was just known, like that was what I did. I was just who I was. And all of a sudden, I couldn't play basketball anymore. I had to learn how to adapt my training, even just because now I have knee replacements and they don't last forever. So I had to learn how to, just not necessarily fun stuff to have to learn how to do when you're only 32 at the time. So but what I want to say is that through these times, it's really, it can be, a lot of us can go through some really dark times in our lives, where we lose our identity and we don't really know what to do, because nothing really doesn't seem at the time to replace what we've lost, even if you're trying. But what I want to challenge, and I think it's a good way to think about it, because it is a long road, sometimes, is that sometimes things are meant to happen, to make room for the things that you're actually supposed to be doing in this life. Life seems to uncover your true purposes, not your surface desires. And so maybe if something really bad has happened and you've lost your identity, maybe that is just making room for what you're actually supposed to be doing. I'm not going to say that that's for every situation. That would be very ignorant of me. Sometimes situations are just painful. If you lose the loss of a child and stuff, I'm not going to say that this doesn't apply to you. That's just horrible. But there are things out there that when you zoom out and you look at the big picture, sometimes they're opening you up and preparing you for what your true purpose really is. Maybe you were not going in the right direction, and life kind of redirects you in a way. You know, I think that that's the reason why at the beginning I said I think it's also kind of like a survival thing, because I can't like put my head around like the reason why some of the things physically have happened to me in my life. I don't want to like even believe that they're happening or have happened. But I also think that like maybe I wasn't supposed to just continue down this like route of just being an athlete. I really don't think that is actually where I'm most useful at in this life anyways. But I think that it's really helpful to think that way, because like eventually you build a new character and you find other purposes, and sometimes those purposes are more important and more vital than what you originally had planned. And sometimes through that pain, it kind of makes you who you are in a way. Builds the person you are, allows you to be more empathetic and compassionate to other people, to the world. It's like that saying goes where I don't know what the exact saying is, but it's like, be kind because we don't know what other people are going through. And I think that so many people are suffering silently, and that should make us more compassionate and more empathetic than the opposite. I think that a lot of us don't understand that many people are going through hard things as well in different ways. We all think that like it's just happening to us and it's not happening to anybody else, and it doesn't make it any less hard for us. But I think that it should make us a little bit more understanding and forgiving to other people. And I think it can go either way. It can make you more compassionate and empathetic, or it can make you more callous. It just depends on like the mindset, and that's why I think it's ultimately a survival instinct. Like, there's people out there that are either optimists or pessimists, and I feel like if I had to choose, regardless if it's true or not, I'd rather choose optimism than pessimism, because I feel like it leads to a better quality of life. It leads to like me taking more ownership, I guess, and trying to have to figure out what I can do rather than what I can't do, because unfortunately focusing on what we can't do doesn't ever necessarily help. Anyways, food for thought. Let me know what you guys think about that. What you think about how sometimes when we lose something, like the loss of our identity, how it's sometimes making way for something even greater in our lives. And remember, I'm not talking to somebody who's truly grieving and going through something, because sometimes things are just horrible. And there's no reason for the death of a child or things like that. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.